summer was really, really busy for me, and it's just a blur.
Paul Caune is a busy man on the move. A move for social change, that is.
So Paul, tell me some of the biggest barriers people with disabilities in British Columbia face on a daily basis.
Well, the biggest barrier can be summed up in a phrase lawyers use, which is a right without a remedy is no right at all. If you have no way to enforce the rights you don't have them.
That's why the Burnaby resident created Civil Rights Now, a non-profit society dedicated to ensuring voters with disabilities and their rights are heard loud and clear.
We have a single purpose, which is to get the law reformed in BC so that we have a remedy for our civil rights, that we have a way to enforce our civil rights, and so that people with disabilities can live a life of human dignity.
You don't have a civil right if you don't have a remedy to enforce it.
To achieve this, Civil Rights Now is on a mission to get laws passed that help to enforce the rights of voters with disabilities.
We want legislation that would achieve two things. Any government dollars allocated to help a voter with disability should go directly to them, and then they would decide with that money what goods and services they would purchase. Second goal would be government funding of test cases involving the civil rights of people with disabilities. Most people with disabilities are poor and cannot afford effective legal counsel.
The goal for Paul and Civil Rights Now is for all voters with disabilities to have equal rights and protection under the law. He leads a team of volunteers who have learned the hard way that hope is not a plan.
What you learn the hard way is, you learn that you have rights on paper, you have civil rights on paper, but you don't have them in practice. When your civil rights have been violated, you don't need a good hug, you need a good lawyer.
The contact information.
According to Paul, most BC voters with disabilities cannot afford a good lawyer and have no way to protect their civil rights, which can cause a number of further problems.
Because of that barrier, you can't get access to proper education, proper health care, proper housing. We can't get criminals who rape and beat, neglect and abuse people with disabilities charged or imprisoned. And this has been true for 100 years.
From what began as reaction to abuse Caune says he suffered through the system has transformed into a 2-year movement towards bettering the lives of all his fellow voters.
We have spoken to hundreds of people with disabilities over the last 2 years all across the Lower Mainland. I can feel the momentum building, and I can also sense the hunger for justice and dignity in the people that I've spoken to directly.
And he's beginning to see some progress.
The progress we've had in the last years is we have more people supporting us than we had 2 years ago. We've been very successful at using social media and media to get a word out that we have a long way to go. We're at the bottom of a mountain, Clayton. We have a very steep hill to go up.
In Burnaby, I'm Clayton Timko for Local Connection.